Every time I hear something like this, I get more and more sad and then more and more angry. And I know who's doing it.
The Brightline, yeah.
What's
Well, not the
going on with
Brightline. The one that's coming up from Orlando all the way to Orlando from Miami. They got crews, at least 60 crews out there, and they are just tearing the woods apart. There's people getting reports of all sorts of stuff, stumps getting thrown at them, full-size stumps. And they're scared. They're not allowed to say nothing to nobody. They're not allowed to report it. They're not allowed to do anything. The only reason why I found them at a bar and I got them to talk.
Wow.
It's the only reason why I found out.
So the new area that they're clearing for the train that goes to Orlando is encountering, the crews are encountering Sasquatch.
They're disturbing places that, who knows, maybe the Native Americans were the last people to step on that land. And they're tearing a hole through it to put the train in.
Well, there you go, guys. They can report a stork or an endangered species that is already classified, but they're not allowed to talk about the gigantic humanoids that are literally to the point where they're throwing stuff to let these people know they live there, and they're not allowed to tell anybody. So we have an example right here of how these things could come out and destroy every human life. And yet, the train now goes to Orlando. Alrighty, guys, welcome to the Bigfoot Researchers Journal. Today we got Bigfoot forest giants with us. That's Richard Farabee, Jimmy Barr, and Mikey V. Found a boneyard. Stick around, it's going to be interesting. Giants. The Hominoid Series lectures from Crypto Reality. Learn to see what's actually there, watching you. Alrighty, guys, what are we looking at? We're looking at a giant Sasquatch right there. Alright, so these guys were present. Starting from the right, that's Richard Farabee, Jimmy Barr in the middle, and Mikey V on the left.
Voted a gate for the sake of Pete.
And it was funny. It was fun. And we actually had this thing watching us, in addition to a couple other things. Immense. Let's go over this.
So here's a big, huge pile of cow bones. Huge pile of cow bones.
This particular area was found by Captain Brian. If you remember Captain Brian, he's been contributing to Crypto Reality and was a part of shooting when Carrie was here and leading us into excellent areas like this. It's his neck of the woods, and it's one of the areas that he loves to research. He was gracious enough to allow us in and show us where some of these spots that he was picking up activity were. And so this was our first incursion into the area that Brian steered us into. And it was amazing what we found. We found a couple of different signs that cattle were being killed in the area. And then we caught incredible things on film watching us.
That's his hip. Can make a coffee table out of that.
Right? Somebody take a picture of me, will you? Here.
I think I turn around on.
Yeah.
Of course, second you hand Jimmy the tri-field meter, it starts going off.
It's like the hips, man. Yeah.
As we were leaving that area where we found the bones, I noticed a unique topographical feature with a long straightaway. And typically, that provides a really good observation point on the ends of those long straightaways. So I stayed there a moment and shot while everybody continued on. And even moved in a little closer. As you can see, I'm slowly moving towards it. But that corner down there drew my attention. It's a unique topographical feature. Check out what was watching us. As we take a look at this individual, keep in mind that we know very little about what's actually out there. When it comes to these cryptids, these species that run circles around men, and they are real, we know very little, especially when it comes to how big they get. Well, I'm estimating that individual is 12 feet tall, minimum. So you can plainly see this creature's head. It comes out like this. The brow is right here. We've got this immense Gigantopithecus type of Sasquatch. This thing's got one of those big skulls, and I venture a guess that it's got a sagittal crest, since this basically is what they're putting together with the molar. I don't know how, but this thing is huge, and let me assure you, 12 feet is in the neighborhood. When we turn the crop off here, this creature is right in this area. And if you walk over there, you are tiny. You're about this big. So if we, get back in here, I'm going to say that you're probably somewhere in this neighborhood, that your head is somewhere around that large. There are definitely other creatures. This appears to be an arm with a thumb and a hand over another apex, possibly, or some large creature here. I mean, this is nuts. There's quite a bit going on here, but we can all see this. We got Pythagoras here, and then we've got the muscle on the jaw and the upper mandible here is considerable. That is indicative of the great apes that eat lots of plants, and they strip leaves off plants with this muscle here. Gorillas have that. Chimpanzees have that. Apparently, Florida Sasquatch have that too. We can see this nose. It's clearly not a human type nose. It's got an indentation running down the center here. What I venture a guess is that this is flat against the skull right here, and these nostrils are actually just tubes that stick off. There's very little soft tissue in here. I don't see that, and what that tells me is this creature is designed altogether differently than some of the other individuals that we've documented. You can plainly see that. Look at this exaggerative skull that he's got here, and you can see the head's coming off that clearly. And I think, like I'm saying, I think this guy clearly kind of shows that he's got some sagittal bone going here, is what it appears. It's interesting that the shape is there, I'll say that. What do we know about these creatures? We know that this particular creature is hanging out in an area where we filmed other types, but we know for sure that this creature is very large, and here's another shot of it, and this is accurate. This particular area is a wildlife management area, and for reasons unknown, cattle are being released in there. We are finding cattle skeletons, and the skulls are missing, the horns are missing. That's interesting. But all kinds of cattle bones, and I mean big bones, right? We think that these creatures are feeding on the cattle. And as you can plainly see, they're big enough. I mean, this is nuts. When you start looking here, this guy is the real deal, man. Check this out. Look at him there. He literally is opening his eyes. He's got I think a little stick in front of it coming off of that tree, and right here you can see this could be one of those jacaranda trees, possibly. It looks segmented. It doesn't look like a pine. So I'd venture a guess that this tree right here is probably 8 to 10 inches across, so probably 16 inches in diameter. This creature is immense, though.
Footprint. Not cow, that's for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
What you got?
Come check it out. It's awful narrow, man.
Well, we get a lot of that now. Oh, yeah. That's a toe, not a boot. Could be a young one.
Very narrow.
Never know. We need to find some more when they're small like that, you need a real good representation to kind of rule out what's going on.
Yep.
But that is definitely an
To me, it looks like a boot.
definitely an anthropoid track of some kind, right? Whether it's a human or not.
Because
We'll see.
Look at the very back where the heel is. It looks like a straight line.
You can see that, yeah.
Like a cowboy boot.
Uh-huh.
And then it's smooth at the top, but you got that bridge in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Might. I'm just saying it might be a cowboy.
Sure,
boot,
you never
I'm
know.
Not really sure.
It could be, but yeah, man, we already found some kind of a track, so we'll stay on this run, and it doesn't look like I'm gonna pick up anything because the ground's getting harder. So we'll move back into this area where it's a little softer, and we'll keep on with our little thing here. Alright, so we've continued tracking, and now we're on the opposite side of the creek, all the way over where we were looking, and we're on a game trail. And there's several of them leading off of it, but we're looking for tracks, man. This is a heavily used area, as you can see. We're gonna find us a track, watch. So I've come through the bushes, and we're on the other side now, and we're trying to get back into that, and we're back in the actual tracking area, like what will take a track. You're going to see that as you track. You're going to go through different substrates, you know. Some of it will take a track, some of it won't. But if you're on him and you're following him, you could lose him in this real wet stuff. So you want to follow through and make sure you get to the other end, checking carefully all the way around the perimeter. They don't want to walk in that crap either. He's going to choose this easier path outside the mud. So, all right, so we got this little track here, and it's very difficult to see it on camera. I mean, you really can't even tell that that's a damn track, but it is. And it's got a ridge. Yeah, man, this is poor documentation, dude. Camera with the light.
No, I can't get a
There you go. Now you can see the mid-tarsal ridge running through it. That's what we're looking for. So here it is, guys. This is one of the things we've been talking about for about 7 years now, about how they live in the saw palmettos. And this is one of their like little den things here. Now you could say whatever you want about, you know, what can come in here, and of course anything could, hogs, all kind of stuff, but we catch them in here, and you know that. The saw palmettos are like, you know, a safety point for them, man. It's thick, it's good cover, and oftentimes when we do investigate in these saw palmetto heads, we find not only the tunnels like this, but dugout areas with no hog tracks. Curiously, if this was about hogs, you would see all of the signs from hogs. I can almost bet you money that if one of our researchers crawls through here right now, you will not find signs of hog. No hog tracks, but a bunch of holes and all kind of crazy shit down in there. All right, so Rich is gonna go in and check it out. Rich, you need to be real careful, because you never know, there could be a pig in there still. If there was one last night. But we're gonna actually follow Rich, and we're gonna get a first-hand look at where they live.
Snap off some photos.
Wow, look at that hole back in there.
Yeah, it goes pretty far back.
It does?
Yeah.
Like what, 20 feet or so?
There's no rooting. There's a lot of debris, but it's not been moved. You know what I mean? Like
It's not. It's
like
undisturbed.
something's rooting.
Yeah. It's so there's no, thus far, no signs of the hog rooting. But there's definitely enough room to crawl through here if you were on your hands, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
How far does it go back?
Too far.
Keeps going?
Yep.
I'm gonna film you when you go around the corner. Okay, now, to show you guys what's really going on out here, when we talk about what's going on in your backyard on the Bigfoot Researcher's Journal and how you have no idea, there's a man that weighs 225 pounds crawling around in there right now. Now, if I was all the way back here, hey, Rich,
Yeah,
you think you're capable of being quiet while you're in the bushes?
I think I could if I wanted to.
Right, so we can plainly see that a man-sized being can be in there and you'd never even know it.
I'm 5'10", 215 pounds.
Should I throw him an apple?
I know, right? What do you think?
That's one for the team right there. It's wide open in there.
See any broken branches up on the ceiling?
I didn't look up because
Okay.
there's a lot of, it's like a tunnel.
Yeah.
But once you get to one end, it branches to the right and it branches to the left. And to the left, there's like a hill, a mound. And then it looks like a skyline where if I went through there and stood up, I could probably see the field on the other side. But ducked down really quick, you wouldn't see me.
So it's a good hideout.
Yeah.
Hey, what's that? That's not cow.
Ooh,
That's not cow.
that looks like human. Let me check it. So it is interesting that that is right there, outside the entrance of that.
Hey, Mark. He said there's a metal box in the tree really close to where I was getting readings.
Let's go take some readings off the box. I'll be right there for sure, dude.
Tell me where it's at.
I'm not going anywhere until I finish shooting this clip, and there's a reason why. I saw the phenomenon in the prairie just in front of me and behind it in those palmettos. Let's take a look. I think one of the first things we learned was that the creatures sometimes get caught in the open. We had a couple accidents, and I think this was actually one of those times. We came through a prairie where the brush was blocking everything at ground level, and I think that a couple of small ones were on the ground there. I heard something when Jimmy was talking to me about leaving that spot, and I just said, wait, let me hang on a second, let me shoot a clip, because it's protocol to shoot when I notice the phenomenon. I look over there, I see this green blob, and there's a possibility of a Sasquatch face watching me. So I'm going to shoot the clip, and this is what came out. I have individuals, sketches from sightings that look exactly like this creature. Check it out. This should help you a little bit to identify what's actually there. The comparison is absolutely viewable.
All right, I got an entrance and an exit. I got an exit over here. So here's the exit, all the way on the other side. Right back in there, and you really can't see it. Research.
Just trying to get out as much as I can, man.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's going on out in Okeechobee, man? You were telling me some stuff a couple weeks ago about guys saying
Yeah,
stuff.
I got some Native Americans that have been trying to get in touch with me, but they're getting flack from the elders. They don't really want to talk to me that much anymore. It was just the first time we went out. But
What about, weren't you saying something about the new trail line for the train?
the Brightline, yeah.
What's
Well, not
going
the
on with
Brightline. The one that's coming up from Orlando all the way to Orlando from Miami. They got crews, at least 60 crews out there, and they are just tearing the woods apart. There's people getting reports of all sorts of stuff, stumps getting thrown at them, full-size stumps. And they're scared. They're not allowed to say nothing to nobody. They're not allowed to report it. They're not allowed to do anything. The only reason why I found them at a bar and I got them to talk.
Wow.
It's the only reason why I found out.
So the new area that they're clearing for the train that goes to Orlando is encountering the crews or encountering Sasquatch.
They're disturbing places that, who knows, maybe the Native Americans were the last people to step on that land. And they're tearing a hole through it to put the train in.
Wow.
Yep.
Any reports of tracks or anything?
Not straight out, no. There's people who've been saying that they found stuff, but nobody's going to say, oh, that's a footprint, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we got to keep definitely an update on that thing from time to time.
Yep, and I live in the area now too, so I'm on it.
Good, good. Well, let us know if you get any other information on it.
Absolutely.
So we've been tracking back in this area here, and we're finding snails along the route, and we're looking for Big Boy's track. This is really a good place to find it, but I haven't seen much of anything in way of the giant stuff or anything that's real conclusive. We've got barefoot, what appear to be barefoot tracks. They're just not conclusive enough, but we always follow up in that direction. That's why, because then you either, you could come upon a conclusive track, which is really what this is all about. So following through is the most important thing, right? So here's a big, huge pile of cow bones. Huge pile of cow bones. Look at this thing, man. Kidding me? Yeah, man, you never know. I didn't find any teeth marks on the pieces I examined, but you never know.
Hold that one up too, Jimmy.
Some big bones, man.
Not that one.
I know, I'm looking at this one. See what that is.
Definitely a
Hip.
Look at this, man. There you go.
that's shoulder. That's his hip.
Can make a coffee table out of that.
Right? Somebody take a picture of me, will you? Here.
Just gotta turn around, huh?
Yeah, you're
Hit the square?
it's like the hips, man. Yeah.
You thought it was straight pet.
Yeah, man. Nice little trail back here too. I hear about this in the Corbett here. Let me get this way right here. There you go. All right, guys.
When we were in Research Area 1, he heard a noise. He started the parabolic. That made me turn and start filming in that direction, which is where you found the footage of the one looking at me.
Now, what was it that was going on, Rich?
Well, we were walking down that trail coming back, so no man's land's on our left with the canal. So as I'm walking, I heard this clack, 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 clack. It was nothing rhythmic, it was sporadic. So I stopped and I went into like just creep mode, and I was creeping along. Then I heard an owl hooting, and then I continued to hear the clacking noise. I heard the clacking noise, and the guys were probably 100 yards behind me. The whole time I'm trying to tell them to wave them like, hey, something's going on. By the time they got close enough and realized I was trying to get their attention, and then they stopped talking, or I could hear them talking, they were close enough I could hear them, it stopped. So we walked over to the first little clearing. There's clearings periodically. I just started snapping off photos of that area. So I took the photos, that's where we sent that one to. Then I took out my video camera, and I videoed up and down the canal, stopping in front of me, up and down the canal, stopping in front of me, probably about a minute long footage. That footage came back invalid.
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 What do you mean?
I only took 2 videos that day.
And they're both error files?
One was good, and then that one, in that area where I took the photograph,
was error file.
it said invalid.
And it wouldn't let you open it.
It's like nothing's there.
So it's stuck to the memory card.
I still have it right now. You can see it.
It won't come off the memory card, right?
Oh, I haven't tried to delete it.
Try to delete it
You know what I
and
mean?
let me know, because I shot a Bigfoot at 4K at like 125 yards with a 400 millimeter lens, and the footage, I can't look at it and I can't get it to come off the memory
Yeah,
card.
this was a
Can't
small
delete
handheld Toshiba, and like I said, I was filming back and forth, just getting a view of the area. because the clacking had stopped and we didn't see anything and couldn't hear anything. And like when I got home, I said, oh, that's right, I took video of those areas. Invalid. It's a white screen that says in red letters, invalid.
That's what I get.
So
Whenever they're around. So you hear the rock clacking, you get invalid files.
yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Where that was where the circle of palms were at the 168. As I was getting back from the woods cleaning cockaburs, I had 620 of them on, and just pulling them off, and I literally thought to myself, how the hell do these things do it without getting matted up with cockaburs as I'm pulling them off? And then I'm like,
Great idea.
it made me go out there and get down on my hands and knees and look as close as I could. And when I made a circle, it was when I made a full circle really close and found a hair. So we grabbed that hair. So I went a few more yards out, did another full circle, found another hair, did a couple more yards out, found another, did a full circle, and it created a pattern of where these hairs were coming from. And when I had 4 or 5, and that's when they were like, I think we got enough or whatnot. It created a pattern on those circles of where that hair direction was coming from, and it came to the pond, down over the little hill that goes down to the pond, which creates a perfect spot for it to observe without being seen. But it created a pattern of where the hair came from, the pattern for it. And it was all because of the damn cockaburs that I had on me. I was like, these things have to be matted. How are they not matted? And so it just made me go out there and look for hair that would be caught on these cockabur bushes and stuff that's out there.
This is the tree line where Brian got stampeded at. He said that the yell came from over here. First thing we see is broken off branches and a game trail that runs the whole length of this perimeter right here. It's going in that direction too. And we got mud. I think this is going to be our best bet for finding tracks today because it's off the grid and way in the back of this area. So I'm going to stay with it for a few minutes and just let the clip run in the event that we walk up on a big track. I got barefoot. I got a barefoot track right there. Let's see, we've got that one track. We're going to keep following this way. Ah! Okay, we come up on some more mud. Nothing. Let's go this way. All right, so you guys come here.
Prepare yourself, because I'm telling you, this is real. I've already gotten some of it, and I'm going to get a whole lot more.
Okay, I got a brow across the way. Just gonna try to shoot this.
I already see this thing 175 yards away, and this thing is there, but somehow to me, man, it doesn't seem real. You can plainly see that gigantic gray-skinned symmetry in there, and we all know what that is, whether we want to accept it or not. That thing's 20 feet off the ground. And he's not the only one. But he sure is big. This is like 3 feet, man. We're gonna break this down. You're not gonna believe this. The one that we caught that's probably 12 to 15 feet that's standing in front of him in the foreground that hasn't appeared yet is incredible as well. And there he is. Let's take a look. All right, so we're looking here, and this is approximately the 3.5 to 4 foot range. Human beings are like around this tall. We are looking at something that is not supposed to exist, and yet you can see clear movement back there, where these things are moving around and changing colors, and that's what that is. We've got him shifting in place, but that thing is significantly larger than anything I've ever seen in any of these areas, and you can plainly see there's an outline of this thing's figure, and the hairline and the eyes, and then the nose even is receiving light in some of these shots, and in previous frames changing, but you can see that this thing's moving around in there. And there's several different aspects of this clip that are interesting, but probably the most interesting, I think, are these frames, because you can clearly see the bridge of the nose, and that joker's moving in there. If we go back to this section right here, you can see where his nose moves plainly. Yeah, it's just shifting in position. But moving forward, we run into some really sick frames where, and I'm pretty sure I still framed it, so let me try to find it. Here it is right here. I believe this is it. Yeah, that's one of them. And then we have this particular footage, right? Now here we're in the same clip, and the light is changing. We've got huge individuals in here. Remember the 3 foot range, right? We're looking at something that I don't even want to say how big it is, but it's ridiculous. But you can see there's an achromatic. This is the one we just looked at. So it's not a stretch, right? But then watch this. We move forward, and right here, one of them becomes perfectly clear. These individuals actually do have white skin, but it's not showing. This is the color of the light that's hitting their faces. And they're changing colors. And if you look right in here, you're going to see this huge guy. I mean, watch this. Look at that creature. It's immense. I mean, you can see the top of his head right here, and it's got a little hair, and here's the nose, and you got it, man. There's even some of his ears sticking out the side there, man. We got giant Sasquatch guy right there. But again, 3.5 feet. 6, 9, 12. What are we talking about here, folks? These are pine trees, roughly 18 inches, 17 to 19 inches in complete diameter and circumference, 8.5, 9 inches, 10 inches across. We're looking at, and these are obviously smaller, but these are your average Florida pine trees here, and some of them are bigger, to the 20 inches. We've got a palm in here, and he appears to be standing amidst this palm. There's a trunk somewhere along in here, but I don't see the typical date palm branches sticking off. This could be the palm, and he's behind it. Or he could be in front of it, and it's behind him. It's hard to tell because of the distance. And again, it's a considerable distance when we really look at, how far back we are. If we go back to this footage and look at this. We're looking right here, man. This guy is this tall. It's insane. There it is. There's the forehead of another individual above the one we're looking at. This is a group of enormous individuals. Here's one right here. Yes, this is real. Yes, it's being documented thoroughly. And yes, apparently, these giant creatures, they exist. There it is, man. It's insanity. But let's crop it, and let's just take you in on this guy right here, and we'll get a look at him firsthand, up close. There, I'll do it right there, man. There it is. About 150 to 175 yards away, the opposite edge of the tree line, we have Florida Sasquatch. Immense Florida Sasquatch.
So it was about 16 years ago. I went out to Corbett to monitor the area. I was looking for deer sheds and stuff like that, just hiking and looking for stuff. And I got to an area where it almost opened up like an open plain with just sporadic palm. You know these like this right here, except a lot shorter. And I was cutting this field to get to a pine forest. I wanted to get to the pine forest. So I'm zigzagging through it, it's like natural trails, looking for any signs. Attention was mostly down, looking down, because that's what my focus was that day, looking for sheds and different things. So as I'm walking, and I'm probably about a half a mile from my truck. I had parked, got out, walked the main trail, and then branched off into the fields. So as I'm walking, nice, just steady pace looking around, and out of nowhere, I hear this, "Wah!" And it was so loud, so intense, it literally felt like it was in my face. It was like right here. I felt my lungs shake. And as fast, it was fast. Even the way I just did it was too long. It was just that impact of this loud yell. And the way it happens, I'm walking, I hear the yell, I look up and turn and walk out. I didn't stay, I didn't look around, I nothing. I heard it, looked up, turned, and walked out. Now as I'm walking out, I'm scared to death now. I'm like, I don't know what that was, My heart's beating, adrenaline's pumping, but my mind's telling me, don't run. Keep walking, don't run. So I'm getting back to the truck, and it felt like hours. It just, time stood still. I'm just so scared. And as I'm walking, at my 7 o'clock and at my 5 o'clock, I kept hearing this thump, thump, thump. And it sounded just like if you were carrying sandbags and dropping them on the ground. It's just that dull thump. You know what I mean? So it was at this side, so it told me there was two. And the whole time I'm walking out, don't turn around, they'll kill you. Don't turn around, don't run, just keep walking. Got all the way back to the main trail, picked up speed, and got to my truck, and I boogied it out of there. I hadn't been back in 16 years until Jimmy Barr invited me to come out. So what happened was, this is years later, 168's happening, or it had already happened. I messaged Kerry because he had mentioned that they were going back. And I said, look, at this point, we didn't know, everything was hush-hush. I didn't know where you guys were at. I sent him an email and I said, hey, look, I don't know where you guys are going, but if you're going to find something, you need to go to Corbett. Literally minutes later, I get a message back from him asking for my phone number. Kerry calls me and says, how did you know about that place? You know what I mean? And then I told him my whole experience, and he said, that's where we were at. And then one thing led to another, and I'm invited to the next 168, so looking forward to that happening. But it was the scariest thing in my life. I can't tell you what it was. I'm never going to come out and say it was a Sasquatch. All I can tell you is it was big, it was loud, and it scared me. And I don't scare too easy. I was scared. So now I'm back out here. I'm surprised I'm back out here. But
thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.